Guess who's back? Back again. Steven's back. Tell a friend. That's right, this is Steven Gandolfi coming to you from the tasting room at Westport Whiskey and Wine with a new feature that we're going to call the Cheeky Pint. Now I'm talking to you about bourbon. No, I'm not. I'm sorry. That's incorrect. It's going to be a new weekly beer feature that we'll be doing. I have handed off the tasting room for the most part. Tim's been doing an amazing job back here. I'm sure y'all are all watching his videos, letting him talk about the flights. He's taken over bar night. I don't know where all that love was when I was doing bar night, but I'm happy Tim's getting the amount of influx of people that he is. I've taken over the beer program here at Westport Whiskey and Wine, and from now on, when you see me, we're going to be talking about beer. So the first thing to touch on this week is one of our themes for this week in the store is we're coming up on Robert Burns Day this weekend. Robert Burns was, of course, a Scottish poet of some renown, enough that he got a national holiday named after himself. And in order to properly celebrate that, aside from some single malt specials that we're doing, 15% off of all Scotch and Irish whiskey this week, we're also going to be featuring some Scottish and Scotch-style ales. Now, there is a difference between a Scotch-style ale and a Scottish-style ale. We're not going to delve too deep into that right now. I just want to get one point across, is that while some examples of those styles of ale can have a smoky character or a peat character, all of the ones that we have this week do not. None of those have any kind of like Rauch smoke or like oily peat kind of note. Instead, what we've got is a lineup of 4 beers here. Corruption from Wooden Cask, which is a gorgeous Scottish-style stout, which isn't really a thing, but we'll let them have it. Finished in new Riff barrels. You can see my notes about it just down below. Suffice it to say, at 10.5%, this is a gorgeous drinking beer. It's dry, it's got lovely finish on it, and it's perfect for drinking this time of year. Typically, this would be, well, $17.99, on sale for $15.99 this week. Dark Horse. I think everybody here knows Dark Horse. Did anybody ever watch the show? I didn't live here when it was on, but apparently Dark Horse used to have a cable access show or something like that. I've seen clips of it on YouTube. I think it was pretty fun. Anyway, Scotty Karate is their Scottish ale, and it does actually ape those kind of classic Scotch ale characteristics. However, this one is bourbon barrel finished. I don't know which distillery they're using bourbon barrels from, but it comes across in this lovely earthy, woody characteristic that really offsets some of the heavier malt notes that you associate with Scotch ale. This guy usually would be $16.99. Oh no, $18.99. We're going to mark it down to $16.99. I have notes over here. I don't think you can see it. It's off camera. Following up from that, we've got a favorite of mine personally from 3 Floyds up in Munster, Indiana. This is Robert the Bruce. As far as American examples of export Scotch ales go, this is really the only thing besides maybe 90 Shilling from Odell that you see regularly available on shelves. They don't disclose the ABV. I think it's probably about 7%. It's got a big malty backbone dominated by kind of melanoidin-y, biscuity kind of notes with some caramel undertones, but it's probably the most classic to style of the beers we're doing tonight, or today. And we'll finish off here with Brewdog. That was loud. Brewdog, the company was founded in Scotland, and their original run of beers all came from Scotland. Now they have a stateside brewery here across the river in Ohio, and this is a decidedly American-style beer. It is a New England IPA. Hazy, of course, Hazy Jane. So wheat, unfiltered, creamy body, the big classic sort of Northwestern-style hops. So you get that big citrus bite that's really mitigated by how kind of creamy the palate is. And coming in, I think, a reasonable, like 7.2 ABV. And this guy is on sale, I think, for $9.99. $9.99, yes, $9.99. Usually $10.99, $9.99 this week. So these are the beers that we are featuring this week on sale, but there are 2 other beers that I want to talk about as well, and I'm just going to kind of scoot these guys to the side for a second. So There is a new movement in craft beer. It's called Brew Pipeline. Brew Pipeline started a project called Guest Brewer, and what this is it's an opportunity for smaller craft beers to kind of piggyback into market in places that they're not distributed, and they do a pre-sell. You know, we're going to offer these 4 or 5 beers. Does anybody have any interest in them? They get a sense of, you know, what getting into that market might be for them, as well as just, you know, we get to try beers that we wouldn't normally try. And we've got 2 examples here today. This is from the first round of Brew Pipeline stuff available in Kentucky. I've got On the Wings of Armageddon from DC Brow, and I've got 5 Pine Chocolate Porter from Three Creek. These are brand new, just came to the store. This guy has a brewed on date of 109, so fresh, big, bold, gorgeous double IPA, coming in at 9.2% alcohol by volume. 96 points on Beer Advocate. One of the main reasons I brought this in. I am not often wowed by IPA anymore. I think most of us in the craft beer scene are well used to IPAs. This one really knocked my socks off. The floral, fruity, spicy hop notes that come across in this beer really cut through the amount of alcohol in it. They cut through that kind of malty backbone that you have to have on a beer that's high, that's that high ABV, that's that hoppy, and it is just a gorgeous drinker. I'm really excited to have these guys in the store. I picked up a couple of cases. They won't be around for long, so come by and get one of these. Equally as exciting, this chocolate porter. I think we're seeing a glut of adjunct-ridden beers lately. When I see a chocolate porter, I'm hesitant. However, the amount of chocolate in here is minimal. It's enough to give a lovely chocolate undertone, and it's a very dry baking chocolate, dark chocolate kind of character underneath the classic roasty notes you associate with a porter. I have to look at my notes again. This guy is $16.99. This guy is $12.99. $12.99 and $16.99. Very limited amounts. Again, I've only got about a case of this, but the sample that I tried, I was well pleased with. The only other thing that I'm going to draw your attention to is it is Hop Slam season from Bell's. I just got in my allocation of Hop Slam, brewed fresh. Everybody knows what it is. Come and get it. What I've got is all I'm going to have, and that's going to be it. But that's my time for this week. Once again, this is Stephen Gandolfi, coming to you from the tasting room at Wisport Whiskey and Wine. Y'all have a good weekend.